l'infermiera vola su.
Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome back to 7th Street.
You killed me. You killed me. You!
Ah, yes. Late period Fulci films. Some people hate them, others are just lukewarm on them. But you're all wrong, goddammit. Some of Fulci's smaller budget later movies are some of the most overlooked Italian horror films ever. I mean, take today's subject for example. Voices from Beyond is the second to last movie that legendary director, the godfather of gore, Lucio Fulci ever directed. And I can't help feeling that it should have been the one that he went out on. Although I don't despise Door to Silence the same way that everyone else seems to, I will say that the fact that it is his last movie is pretty sad.
What's your problem? Played it all cool with the zipper. Now you can't get it up. What are you, impotent?
Out of here.
It's an unremarkable end to such an interesting and varied career.
Lucio Fulci's Door to Silence. Some doors are better left closed.
Voices from Beyond, on the other hand, is, in my opinion, a triumphant return to form for the ailing director. Despite not having anywhere near the funds he's used to having, and the fact that the year is 1991 and the Italian genre film industry has little but a few dying gasps left in it, Fulci turns out a very atmospheric, interesting, and surprisingly gory supernatural thriller.
I am using hemostatic pincers to block the hepatic duct.
The movie opens with a very graphic, very sweaty sex scene between an older, wealthy man named Giorgio and his trophy wife, Lucia. When Lucia's young son begins to cry from the next room over, Giorgio becomes enraged. And I guess I don't blame him. No one likes being cock-blocked, and maintaining an erection at his age can't be easy. So doing what any normal man would do in this situation, Giorgio runs to the kid's room and fucking stabs him to death. Jesus Christ. That's an insane way to open up your movie. Even for Fulci, that's a bit far. As it turns out, the infanticide sequence was only a nightmare. Lucia sits up in her bed crying over the realization that subconsciously she doesn't trust that her husband is truly a good person, and oh well, fuck that. Problem solved, I guess. Yes, it would appear that good old Giorgio has fallen into bad shape after what the doctors suspect is a hernia. Now, I'm no medical professional, but I haven't found much out there that states that a hernia would cause you to vomit up copious amounts of blood. I can't help but think that this was a game-time decision on the part of Mr. Fulci. I can totally imagine him saying, "What the fuck is this? No blood?" No surprise to anyone, Giorgio dies, and immediately the family starts acting suspiciously. When the doctors ask for permission to conduct an autopsy, the family looks worriedly at each other, and then refuses.
Well, this time you'll have to forget about it. We would never allow such a profanation.
From here on out, we get some voiceover courtesy of Giorgio, hence the title. He finds that he still has the mind power to connect telepathically with his family through their dreams, and in the case of his youngest daughter, she actually possesses the power to hear his voice directly.
Rosie, I beg you, Rosie. Hurry.
Immediately after his death, Giorgio's loved ones have a funeral where the entire family of rich yuppies arrive to pay their respects. But as they approach his coffin, we get some really nice flashback scenes that showcase the many ways that he wronged those who were closest to him. You see, Giorgio was a bit of a mean prick who stepped all over those around him in his life, which means that literally everyone had reason to kill this old man. Well, That is, except for his favorite daughter, Rosie.
Oh no, you mustn't run away from me. Rosie, you're the only person that I ever really loved.
Dead Giorgio urges Rosie to discover the true reason for his death and explains that as his body decays in the earth below, so will his ability to communicate. By imposing this time limit on the ghost's existence, Fulci manages to add some tension to the story. On the whole, the film trades on suspense and chills rather than the usual Fulci gore, though the gore that we get is really rather well done, and a whole lot better than I expected.
Rosie, my child, listen to me. You are the only one who can help me, who can get to the truth. I'm counting on you, Rosie.
After this super drawn-out setup, the movie boils down to a simple formula. One of the characters will have a terrifying, nightmarish dream sequence, per usual Fulci. Then we follow Rosie as she uncovers clues about her father's death. Then more nightmares, Rosie finding out more clues, more nightmares, more Rosie, etc.
Why have you come here? To make sure he stays where he is. It's the proper place for people like him.
The nightmare sequences in this movie are the true highlights. I really enjoy when Lucia's boyfriend Mario has a nightmare about being trapped in a mausoleum where the dead are returning to life as flesh-eating zombies. It's nice to see Fulci's zombies back in all their glory, and one might expect the low budget and different makeup artists to hurt this scene, but the zombies actually look pretty good here. In the last act of this movie, Rosie discovers that the murder plot involved more than just one family member, and the conspiracy goes further than she originally expected.
Do you really think that I killed your father?
I still don't know how you did it, but it could only have been you.
Why would I have done it, according to you?
Alright, I gotta bring up the hilarious attempt to pass off Katrina Huff as Bettina Giovanni's daughter, when in actuality, the two actresses are only 3 years apart in age.
Tell that broad to go to hell so you can live with me.
Why exactly are her eggs now eyeballs? Because, you know, Fulci. He fucking loves eye stuff. The twist at the end of this one is interesting, to say the least. Apparently, the little kid from the beginning of the film was taught by his mother and grandma to crush up glass and put it in ice cubes that his father used for his late-night scotch. It's a little overly complicated, but sure, I'll take it.
There was no need for you to be here when he asked for some ice cubes. Everything had already been prepared, neatly and conscientiously, by an innocent child. Oh no, it wasn't my mother who planned such a horrible thing. You're the only one with a sufficiently evil mind. You're the only one who could have thought it up.
I gotta say it again, I fucking love this movie. I feel like this one would have been considered one of Fulci's best horror films if it had just had a bigger budget and a more competent crew. Although I will say that I do really admire the cinematography by Sandro Grossi. The lighting in Voices from Beyond is probably the best of Fulci's later work. Lots of soft blues and greens that really give it that dreamlike, Lovecraftian feel.
But just remember one thing, you and all the rest. My father will always be here. It's going to be your fears, your conscience, your nightmares, Hilda, that will haunt you for the rest of your lives.
Voices from Beyond has to be Lucio Fulci's most underrated work and the best of his later period films, hands down. Code Red recently released a Blu-ray of this film, Well, I guess not recently, but they've released a Blu-ray of this film. Go ahead and get yourself a copy and reference this film.
Just stop being dramatic about this, eh? And worry about me.